In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NFL games happening on December 7th, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NFL games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens. The AFC North has a tight race at the top heading into December. 2 teams sit even at 6-6, and they meet in Baltimore on Sunday when the Ravens host the Steelers. The recent paths of these teams look very different. Over the last 6 games, Baltimore owns a 5-1 mark. Pittsburgh has dropped 4 of 6 in that same stretch. Both teams stumbled in their most recent home games. On Thanksgiving night, Baltimore suffered a 32-14 defeat against Cincinnati. Pittsburgh went into halftime with a 7-3 lead over Buffalo, then gave up 23 straight points in a 26-7 loss as a 3-point underdog. Pittsburgh gets its quarterback back in the lineup as Aaron Rodgers returns after a missed Week 12 trip to Chicago due to a left wrist injury. His recent form sits well below his peak. He threw for only 117 yards and completed fewer than 10 passes in each of his last 2 starts. The larger concern for the Steelers sits on defense. They rank 28th in yards allowed at 365.1 per game. On the road, the numbers look worse. In their last 3 away contests, they gave up 31, 25, and 33 points. They won their first 2 road games against the Jets and Patriots, but since then they have dropped 3 straight away from home. Baltimore saw a 5-game winning streak end with that 18-point loss to the Bengals. Joe Burrow returned at quarterback for Cincinnati and guided an offense that scored 32 points. That number more than doubles the 13.4 points per game the Ravens allowed over their previous 5 outings. It also casts a bit of doubt on how strong that run really was. 4 of those 5 wins came against teams with losing records. The lone win against a team with a winning record came against Chicago, which shares the best mark in the NFC. Last season, Baltimore handled Pittsburgh in both meetings by double digits after dropping the previous 4 head-to-head matchups. From a spread view, Baltimore has not rewarded backers as a favorite. With Lamar Jackson at quarterback this season, the Ravens sit at 3-6 against the number when they give points. They have shown that they can handle weaker opponents, and many will place the Steelers in that group right now. At the same time, this spread asks a lot from a favorite that has not been reliable in that role. Road trips can sometimes give a struggling team a fresh frame of mind. Pittsburgh has often taken on that road identity with a tight locker room and an us-against-the-world mindset in hostile stadiums. Aaron Rodgers does not need to deliver a vintage performance to keep the Steelers in range. If he avoids big mistakes, he can manage the game and let Jaylen Warren work on the ground. With DK Metcalf available, Pittsburgh can also threaten a Baltimore secondary that ranks 26th in passing yards allowed. On the other side, divisional games between these franchises have a long record of close finishes, no matter how the teams look going in. The Ravens come into this one off a 32-14 loss to Cincinnati. Derrick Henry gives Baltimore a strong power run game, but the passing attack has not settled into a steady rhythm, and turnovers keep showing up. Pittsburgh's defense has clear leaks, yet TJ Watt remains a major edge presence. If he can push the pocket and disrupt Lamar Jackson's timing, Pittsburgh can keep the margin within a single score on many drives and set up a tight final quarter. This rivalry often ends with one score separating the 2 teams. As our first pick for this matchup, the Pittsburgh Steelers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both offenses enter this matchup with uneven production, while both defenses have issues but lean toward a grinding style. Pittsburgh's attack shows that clearly on the stat sheet. The Steelers managed only 7 points in the 26-7 loss to Buffalo, and for the season they ranked 27th in total offense at 281.7 yards per game. Their ground game sits near the bottom of the league, so long drives often stall. Baltimore's offense does not look much smoother. In the 32-14 defeat against Cincinnati, the Ravens scored only 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry gives them a strong base in the run game, yet the passing game ranks only 28th at 180.5 yards per contest. That last lack of balance limits explosive plays and keeps the clock moving. The style of play between these teams points in the same direction. Divisional games between Pittsburgh and Baltimore tend to be physical, with heavy contact, long drives, and few clean big plays. Both defenses allow around 24 points per game, which leaves a lot of room for long stretches of field position battles rather than track meets. Recent totals trends support that picture. Across their last 10 combined games, the teams have gone 8-2 to the under. Scoring has trended down, and both sides lean on their defenses to keep them in games when the offenses stall. The matchup profile fits a slow, bruising game with more punts than explosive plays and tight scoring margins. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami Dolphins versus New York Jets. It will be a key American Football Conference East matchup when the Miami Dolphins head to New York to face the Jets in Week 14 on Sunday afternoon. Miami opened the season with a record of 1-6-0, and at that point the head coach looked close to losing his job. Since then, the team has responded with 4 wins in its last 5 games and has shifted the tone of its season. The Dolphins did not cover the spread in the victory at New Orleans, but they built a 16-0 lead and then allowed the Saints back into the game, so the margin on the scoreboard did not match the control they showed early. Miami has not played its best football away from home, yet the road environment here is not hostile. MetLife Stadium has not given the Jets much of an edge. Their only home victories have come against Atlanta and Cleveland, and their overall record sits at 3-9-0. With how some of their close games unfolded, a case exists that they could sit at 0-12-0 instead. The Jets beat Atlanta by a score of 27-24 while losing most statistical battles except for special teams. They slipped past Cleveland 27-20 while gaining only 169 yards of total offense. Their win over Cincinnati, 39-38, came when the Bengals did not have Joe Burrow under center. In contrast, Miami's recent 4-1-0 run includes a 30-13 win against Buffalo, which stands out as a clear high point. The Jets continue to play hard and are stacking enough wins to move away from the very top of the draft order, yet they remain tough to trust. Their problems run across offense and defense, and backing them here means trusting them to control a game with only a small spread to help. Miami, on the other hand, has taken 4 of its last 5 games with a defense on the rise and an offense that has shifted toward the ground game. The trend in this matchup also leans to Miami. The Dolphins are 11-1-0 straight up and 8-3-1 against the spread in their last 12 games as favorites against the Jets. The pairing of the head coach and Tua Tagovailoa has produced strong results against weaker teams in general. While issues have surfaced more against strong opposition, that profile fits this contest. Although Tua Tagovailoa can make mistakes and does not profile as the safest quarterback in the league, the Dolphins still bring more reliable playmakers. Tagovailoa, Devon Achane, and Jalen Waddle form a core that outclasses what New York can put on the field on offense. The matchup, the recent form, and the history between these teams all lean toward Miami taking care of business as the road favorite. As our first pick for this matchup, the Miami Dolphins to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Tagovailoa has improved his play in recent weeks, yet his season numbers still show a touchdown to interception ratio of 17-14. The Jets defend the pass well and sit 10th in the league in that area, allowing 196.1 passing yards per game and 7 yards per attempt. That strength can slow Miami's air game. There is a concern for New York in the run game because their rushing defense has issues, and Achane can exploit soft run fits. If Miami does produce scoring drives on the ground, those drives are likely to use time and reduce the total number of possessions. On the New York side, the quarterback situation continues to spin. The team has moved between Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields, and the job has landed back with Taylor for now. The shift does not change the basic outlook for the offense. The Jets scored 27 points on Atlanta in their last outing, but the scoring did not come from an efficient attack. The defense and a near touchdown on a kick return played big roles, and the offense produced only 269 yards and 4.3 yards per play. In the 6 games before that, the Jets finished with 14 points or fewer in 4 contests, so high scoring does not fit their recent pattern. Miami's recent game logs point in the same low-scoring direction on the opponent's side. The losing team in the Dolphins' last 6 games has scored 6, 10, 6, 13, 13, and 17 points. The Dolphins have held up on defense in the past month and have allowed 17 points or fewer in 4 of their last 5 games. At the same time, their own offense has not produced big point totals. Miami scored 16 points in one game and 21 in the next against Washington and New Orleans. Pace also matters here. The Dolphins run a slow offense that ranks 30th in offensive plays per game. The Jets also lean slow, with a ranking of 23rd in plays per game, and they prefer to run more than pass, which further shortens the game. The betting trend reflects this profile, as the under has hit in each of Miami's last 5 games. Given the combination of 2 flawed offenses, strong pass defense on the New York side, recent improvement on the Miami defense, and slow pace from both teams, this matchup points toward a lower total score than the market projects. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The New Orleans Saints visit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 14 NFL action at Raymond James Stadium on Sunday. New Orleans brings a very limited scoring profile into the game, with an average of 15.2 points per contest, yet the team stays alive in most matchups because the defense holds up. The Saints rank 7th against the pass at 187.7 yards allowed per game and sit 12th in total defense, so they have a structure that can disrupt a Tampa Bay offense that functions more as steady than explosive. In their latest game, a 21-17 loss to Miami, the Saints stayed in touch against a playoff-level opponent even without Alvin Kamara on the field. That effort underlined the defense again and showed that the group can keep the score down long enough for the offense to piece drives together. Tyler Show continues to gain snaps and comfort at quarterback, and Chris Olave is expected to push through a back issue, so the passing game still offers a primary target and a young passer with room to grow. That combination, paired with the defense, gives New Orleans a path to stay within range. Tampa Bay enters with an average of 23.3 points per game, yet the attack has issues when it faces secondaries that can cover. The Buccaneers have trouble when opponents challenge their passing rhythm, and the New Orleans defensive backfield ranks among the better groups they will see, which raises the degree of difficulty for Baker Mayfield. On the other side of the ball, Tampa Bay has cracks that match up with New Orleans' strengths. The Buccaneers allow 25.1 points per game, ranked 29th against the pass at 247.5 yards allowed per game, and that kind of weakness invites Show to push the ball downfield when protection holds up. New Orleans still does not profile as a team built for shootouts, but the defense and a ball control mindset can shorten the game and cut the number of possessions. If the Saints avoid short fields for Tampa Bay and keep turnovers in check, they give themselves more chances to trade field position and shrink any margin late in the game. Market expectations tilt toward the Buccaneers based on talent and home field, yet their performance against the spread and on the injury report tells another story. Tampa Bay owns a record of 5-7 against the spread this season, and the offense carries several key injuries. The defense sits in the bottom tier against the pass and ranks 23rd in scoring defense, which raises concerns about laying a large number. New Orleans is below average on both offense and defense, yet the team stays live in spots and has covered the spread in 2 of its last 3 games. Tampa Bay has struggled in the role of a clear favorite, with a 1-5 record against the spread in the last 6 games when favored by 7 points or more. The series history fits the same pattern, as the underdog has covered in 7 of the last 10 meetings between these 2 teams. The Saints do not need to win outright, and if they lean on their defense, manage the ball, and limit mistakes in a familiar divisional matchup, the spread looks more flexible than the raw team reputations suggest. As our first pick for this matchup, the New Orleans Saints to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. New Orleans has played under the number in each of its last 8 games, and Tampa Bay has finished under in its last 2. The Saints average 15.2 points per game, which fits with a slow pace and a modest scoring ceiling. They throw the ball on roughly 60% of their snaps and sit at 20th in the league in passing offense. That profile meets a Buccaneers defense that ranks 29th against the pass and gives up 24.4 points per game at home. So the matchup invites some production through the air, yet still leans on long fields and extended drives rather than quick strikes. Tampa Bay averages 23.3 points per game and throws the ball about 57% of the time, which places the Buccaneers 19th in passing offense. They now face a New Orleans defense that ranks 7th against the pass and has allowed only 17.7 points per game over the last 3 games. The Saints secondary can disrupt timing, and the front can hold up enough to force longer third downs. These These traits often slow games and push more drives into field goal range instead of the end zone. The recent series history points the same way, as the Buccaneers and Saints have hit the under in 6 of their last 8 meetings. New Orleans brings one of the weakest offenses in the league over the recent stretch, and the group never operated as a high-powered attack even at its best points this season. Tampa Bay excels at stopping the run and has already shown that strength against stronger ground games than the one it will see here, so it is hard to picture the Saints finding many clean lanes on early downs. That scenario puts more pressure on a rookie quarterback in a road setting and invites stalled drives. On the Tampa Bay side, the running game also lacks punch, so an efficient plan focuses on clock control and safe passing rather than constant risk. If the Buccaneers protect the ball and avoid big mistakes, the game flow tilts toward longer possessions, more punts, and field goals instead of frequent touchdowns. With 2 flawed offenses, 1 strong pass defense, and a history of low scoring in this matchup, the conditions line up with a total that leans toward the low side. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Indianapolis Colts versus Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars host the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday at Everbank Stadium in a Week 14 NFL matchup. Jacksonville has been strong at home with a 4-2 straight-up record, and Indianapolis has struggled away from home at 2-3 straight-up. The recent history in this series leans to the home side as well, since Jacksonville is 4-1 straight-up in its last 5 games against AFC South opponents, and Indianapolis has dropped 10 road games in a row to the Jaguars, including the 2016 meeting in London. The two teams arrive in very different conditions. With Daniel Jones playing through a fractured fibula, the Colts' offense has lost punch and has not matched its early season output. That injury limits his movement, which affects both scramble yards and his ability to extend plays in the pocket. His track record against quality defenses in outdoor games is poor, with a 4-11-1 straight-up record against teams that allow under 20 points per game and a 1-10-1 straight-up mark in November or later against defenses that give up 22 points per game or fewer. Jacksonville enters this contest in form. The Jaguars are coming off a 25-3 home win over Tennessee in which Trevor Lawrence threw for 229 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the defense smothered the Titans' offense. That result gave them their 3rd win in a row, and during that stretch they have leaned on a defense that ranks first in the league against the run at 82.4 rushing yards allowed per game, and sits 12th in scoring defense at 21.1 points allowed per game. On offense, the Jaguars balance their attack around Travis Etienne, who has passed 800 rushing yards, and Jacoby Myers, who has become a steady target in the passing game. That combination gives Lawrence enough support to move the chains and stay on schedule. The matchup with the Colts secondary is favorable, since Indianapolis ranks 27th against the pass at 246.3 yards allowed per game. That weakness gives Jacksonville room to stay in rhythm and sustain drives. The key matchup on the other side is how Jacksonville's defense fits against the strengths of the Colts. Indianapolis averages close to 30 points per game, which ranks 2nd in the league, and sits in the top 10 in both passing and rushing offense. Yet the Colts have shown problems when they face a physical front, which showed up in their 20-16 loss to Houston last week. The Jaguars stopped the run at a league-leading rate and have created 13 takeaways, which ranks 3rd. That combination positions them to crowd Jonathan Taylor, the league's leading rusher at 1,282 yards, and push the Colts into more obvious passing downs. If the Jaguars contain Taylor, the Colts will lean more on Jones. That is not ideal given his history against strong defenses and his current injury. Jacksonville's front can compress the pocket and challenge his reads, and his limited mobility reduces the stress he can place on the edges. Indianapolis also comes in short-handed on defense, with key players such as DeForest Buckner and Sauce Gardner out. Those absences open cleaner paths for Jacksonville to exploit matchups in both the run and pass game, especially in the interior and on intermediate routes. From a form perspective, both teams share the same overall record and the same record against the spread, but their recent runs diverge. Jacksonville is 4-1 in its last 5 games and has twice as many home wins as Indianapolis has road wins. The Colts are 1-3 in their last 4 outings, which includes back-to-back road losses, and they continue to falter in Jacksonville, where the Jaguars have taken the last 5 meetings. In this setting, the home team fits the underdog role with stronger recent play, a defensive edge in the trenches, and a clearer path to control tempo. As our first pick for this matchup, the Jacksonville Jaguars to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The recent series history between these teams tilts in the other direction when you look at the total. The last 5 meetings between the Colts and Jaguars have all finished over the posted number. In 2024, Jacksonville beat Indianapolis 37-34 at home, which sailed over the total of 44. In the Week 18 rematch, the Colts edged the Jaguars 26-23 in overtime, which landed over 45.5. Jacksonville has scored at least 31 points in 3 of the last 4 meetings, and Trevor Lawrence started at quarterback in each of those higher-scoring games. This year, both teams sit at 6-6 to the over. The Colts are 3-2 to the under on the road. Jacksonville is 4-1 to the under at Everbank Stadium, with the only home overcoming in the Monday night comeback against Kansas City in Week 5. In those 5 home games, the Jaguars' defense has held opponents to 10 points or fewer 3 times, including a 6-point showing by the Chargers in their Week 11 visit. The Colts bring a recent tilt toward lower scoring results as well. They are on a 3-1 under run in their last 4 games, and they have scored 20 points or fewer in 3 of those 4 contests. Over their first 8 games, they were held to 20 points only once, in their first loss of the season to the Rams in Week 4, which shows how their offense has cooled from its early pace. The production numbers still show an explosive profile for Indianapolis. The Colts rank 4th in the league in total yards per game at 375.4, while Jacksonville ranks 19th at 326 yards per game. Jonathan Taylor leads the league with 1,282 rushing yards, and he gashed the Jaguars for 177 rushing yards in the Week 18 meeting last season. Jacksonville counters with the top run defense in the NFL at 82.4 rushing yards allowed per game, so the ground game matchup is a strength-on-strength battle. The total for this game is 47.5 points, the highest number in this series since 2021, and that earlier game stayed under the total. That context matters in light of the expected conditions. The forecast calls for a strong chance of rain and high humidity, which tends to weigh on the passing game. Both passing attacks already show issues. Jones has seen his completion percentage drop as his injury has reduced his movement, and that limits his ability to slide in the pocket or break contain. Lawrence has completed fewer than 60% of his passes this season, which allows defenses to crowd the line and commit more bodies to slowing the Jaguars' run game that had more punch early in the year. On paper, Indianapolis still owns the more explosive offense, but its production has tailed off in recent weeks. Both defenses bring tools that can slow scoring. Jacksonville's defense ranks among the best against the run at 82.4 rushing yards allowed and gives up 21.1 points per game. The Colts offense scored only 16 points in the loss to Houston, which showed again that a physical front can disrupt their timing. On the other side, the Jaguars' offense averages 24.3 points per game and tends to build around Etienne and short throws that keep the clock moving rather than deep shots. Indianapolis is strong against the run at 98.3 rushing yards allowed per game, 7th in the league, and that strength supports a tighter, possession-based contest with fewer explosive plays. Taken together, the recent form of both offenses, the defensive strengths against the run, the weather outlook, and the rising total suggest that this matchup is more likely to produce a slower, grind-heavy game that falls below the posted number and ends the short streak of high-scoring meetings between these rivals. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.